Myoho Renge Kyo Nam Myoho Renge Kyo Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Oh. Okay, so as you know, goshos are different kinds. Some are just personal letters, some are directed teaching by Nichiren, meant to be read by many students. Some are directions for other monks, teachers that is, and some are deeply scholarly and meant for governments and leaders to pay attention to. This one is called The Heritage of the Ultimate Law of Life. And so I'm telling you, this Gosho, along with many others, but this Gosho I really want to take time to chew because it is extremely central to Nichiren Buddhism. It's essential to the understanding of all Buddhism, but it is a central point of Nichiren scholarship that you will understand why Nichiren, Bodhisattva Nichiren, is so important in the lineage of the Buddhist scholarship. Okay, so here we go. I have just carefully read your letter. To reply, the ultimate law of life and death, as transmitted from the Buddha to all living beings, is Myoho Renge Kyo. The 5 characters of Myoho Renge Kyo were transferred from Shakyamuni and many treasures, the 2 Buddhas inside the treasure tower, to Bodhisattva superior practices, carrying on a heritage unbroken since the infinite past. Myo represents death and Ho, life. Living beings that pass through the 2 phases of life and death, moment to moment, are the entities of the 10 worlds, or the entities of Myoho Renge Kyo. Now already, I'm going to pause here because this is important. Already you're beginning to see that the definition, because a lot of us still get stuck on the words. Buddha said don't focus on the words, focus on the meaning. So what we have here is Nichiren already in one paragraph has given you several different meanings for Myoho Renge Kyo. For instance, the treasure tower. What is the treasure tower? In a global sense, and I mean from not the globe as geography, but a globe as the entirety of Buddhist teachings, the treasure tower is Myoho Renge Kyo. Now, in the story of the Lotus Sutra, Shakyamuni and Taho Buddha are seen seated in the treasure tower. So Nichiren puts a representation in calligraphy of Buddha and Taho and Shakyamuni Buddha in the Gohonzon that you see behind me. And they're astride Myoho Renge Kyo. So the treasure tower is Myoho Renge Kyo, but it is also the entirety of the Gohonzon because the Gohonzon represents the entire ceremony in the sky in the sermon of the Lotus Sutra. So things are shifting now. Because as usual in Buddhism, we're trying to define with words meaning. And it's almost impossible to do. It is impossible to do. All we can do is circumlocute it. We can talk around it until we narrow this idea down. But I can't say ikpak poo poo and you know what Buddha land is. Buddha mindscape is. You have to experience it. Only you can. Nobody can give it to you. Nobody can write it down and hand it to you. Nobody can create a Gohonzon and say, here it is, your enlightenment. You have to do the work. It's your mind. It's your enlightenment. The Gohonzon is a tool. It's a perfect representation in calligraphy of the concepts and ideas in the ultimate teachings the Lotus Sutra, the ultimate teachings, Myoho Renge Kyo. Your dedication, devotion, application, and appreciation for Na-Mu of Myoho Renge Kyo invoke and center your mind on the Buddha mindscape. And so you can actualize it. That's the whole purpose of a human life, in case you've been wondering, is to actualize the wonder and awe of what the whole process of all phenomena is. Why am I here? How am I here? What am I supposed to do? What's my responsibility? Why, when we should be asking how? And the how is the practice of Buddhism. The why just sort of puffs away like a child's silly question. So, the treasure tower is a locale where we can focus our attention to experience the Buddha landscape. You can do this with Myoho Renge Kyo, the treasure tower, the Buddhas. There's so many examples in here, but understand that they're all trying to lead you to this understanding, this meaning. They're not actual places. And Myoho Renge Kyo in Chinese is Miao Feng. I'm not saying it right. Yeah, it's a different sound. They're different words because the meaning's not in the words. That does not mean, as one of my students tries to suggest, that we can make up any word we want and just back it up with all this information. No. Because the way we imbue meaning into something is through the scholarship, and the scholarship is Myoho Renge Kyo. And if you research Myoho Renge Kyo, you can research it 1,000 different ways, and you'll come up with what the character Myo means in Chinese and interpretation in Japanese and where its roots are in Sanskrit, and you can do all that. But those characters then, historically, for almost 3,000 years, are imbued with all of those meanings. You're going to come along and say broomstick means the same thing. Well, you're alone. There's no scholarship, there's no backbone, there's no history invested in that thought. So how profound is it? You see? It's not that they sound different in Vietnamese and Korean and Japanese and Sanskrit, Sadam Marpundarika, right? It's the intent. It's the inculcated meaning that has value. And it's already there in Myoho Renge Kyo. Plus, Myoho Renge Kyo is Japanese phonetics of the concepts. The Lotus Sutra is a Japanese document that we practice in Nichiren. Nichiren is Japanese. So Nichiren, being the Bodhisattva that elucidated the ultimate teachings of Buddhism, means that we practice as closely as possible Nichiren's scholarship and enlightenment of this ultimate teachings. So why would you not use his tool, Myoho Renge Kyo? He's the only one to have given it the ultimate meaning. All right. Hopefully I harped on that enough for now, but I'm going to do a full video on Namu Myoho Renge Kyo and why it's 7 characters, Na-Mu Myoho Renge Kyo, and not Nam-Myo or Na-Myo, and dropping the entire meaning of a whole character and everything attached to it. From what I just said, you have to realize that that's a heinous error. There is a sect and a group, maybe more, that adamantly use a phonetic device of their current language to manipulate a 3,000-year-old idea. How can you do that? It makes no sense. It is a huge error. And I will maintain that forever. And I will do videos about it, and I will show you that from Sadharma Pundarika Sutra, I will put this online so you can read it better, but here's a few translations, and I will also provide for you the actual depth of meaning of those as much as I know. And I'm sure there's more. But there's a reason for these characters, what they mean, their depth of meaning. And I also talk about them mostly from Tendai's perspective, because I thought that was the most amazing thing to me, was that the characters stopped being just sounds and pretty pictures when I found out that they actually represent the 5 periods of Shakyamuni's teachings. And I have a whole chart on that as well. So I'll provide all of that to you later. Right now, back to this. This is why this is such an important teaching, certainly to me, and I think for you and your practice. You have to understand the depth, the profundity of the meaning of these characters. They're not just the title and the title of every chapter. Why would it? That's never been done in any other sutra. Why would he do that? Obviously, he was making a huge point, right? Myoho Renge Kyo. Hey, Myoho Renge Kyo. This is Myoho Renge Kyo. This. Myoho Renge Kyo. Over and over and over. Point made. We'll continue. Tendai says that one should understand that living beings and their environments and the causes and effects at work within them are all the law of Renge, the lotus. So now he's told us one aspect of what Myo represents. Now he's telling us about Renge. Oh, he's also told us about Ho, hasn't he? Yeah, death and life, Myo and Ho. Renge being self and environment, being one, and the duality of life, Renge, muddy swamp, lotus flower, right? Here, living beings and their environments means the phenomena of life and death. Thus, it is clear that where life and death exist, cause and effect, or the law of the lotus, is at work. Now you understand life and death here is moment to moment. Every moment arises and falls away. Next moment, falls away. Next moment, falls away. That's the cycle of life and death. Not a lifetime and its end. Okay? The great teacher Dengyo, another teacher, states, the 2 phases of life and death are the wonderful workings of one mind. One mind. Life and death, life and death. Not a mind and then a death and then a new mind with a life and death. Right? That's something else. That's not Buddhism. Okay. Excuse me. The 2 ways of existence and non-existence are the true functions of an inherently enlightened mind. No phenomena, either heaven or earth, yin or yang, the sun or the moon, the 5 planets, or any other worlds from hell to Buddhahood, are free from the 2 phases of life and death. You understand? This is the momentum I talk about, the kinetic energy, if you will, in modern terms. That as one life falls away, it influences and imbues the next moment with whatever came from its experience. So it's a continuum of experiences that creates for us the illusion of a lifetime, when in actuality every moment arises and falls away. Life and death, life and death, life and death, life and death. That's where this continuum, this idea of the next life and the previous life comes from. They're actual moments. But they're moments of life, which is a hugely complex compendium of energies. So we still use the term life, right? It's not like when a marble hits another marble and one transfers its energy to the other, and we just call that a moment of contact where force is projected from one item to another, creating kinetic force, right? That's a simple physics experiment. But to do that with a human life, it's vastly more complicated, right? So we use the term life instead of moment. No phenomena or any other. Life and death are simply the two functions of Myoho Renge Kyo. So here's another definition of Myoho Renge Kyo that's kind of exciting. That moment of transfer. That is the life in process. From the moment of one instantiation to its fading away or falling away or dissipation, however you want to say it in words, and its projection into the next moment, that's Myoho Renge Kyo, right there. So think about that. What happens in this moment and what happens in the next moment only has an appearance, a nature, and all of those aspects, those 10 aspects, because of Myoho Renge Kyo, because of this ultimate law, which is the process of life. And we, humans, perceive it. Albeit incorrectly until we study and train our perception better toward the Buddha mind state. Our human mind state, in its tendencies and conditions, the monkeys, the cravings, the whatevers, are more fascinated with what we think is and what will be, or past, present, and future. We're mired in holding on to those things, and we miss the whole flow. That is the Buddha mind. That is the Myoho Renge Kyo. Is this starting to make sense? But I want you to pay close attention because he's dancing around these concepts very fluidly. But they're here. And he's talking, this is Dengyo talking about this. So now, in his great concentration and insight, Tendai, now we're back to Tendai. Arising is the arising of the essential nature of the law, and extinction is the extinction of that nature. So Myoho Renge Kyo has kind of a rhythmic coming and going, right? The process of life. The rhythm that we intone, Myoho Renge Kyo, Namu Myoho Renge Kyo, is a physical, verbal element that allows us to create a frequency, a rhythm. And that rhythm can dance with the rhythm of Myoho Renge Kyo, our Buddha mindscape. Shakyamuni and many treasures, the two Buddhas, are also inherent in the two phases of life and death, moment to moment. Shakyamuni Buddha, who attained enlightenment countless kalpas ago, the Lotus Sutra that leads all people to Buddhahood, and we, ordinary human beings, are in no way different or separate from one another. To chant Myoho Renge Kyo with this realization is to inherit the ultimate law of life and death. Myoho Renge Kyo. This is a matter of the utmost importance for Nichiren's disciples and lay supporters, and this is what it means to embrace the Lotus Sutra. This is an amazing, amazing letter. And the profundity of what he's saying, we could just spend many, many hours discussing every single sentence of this, understanding that the sentence is a collection of words where a meaning is trying to be expressed. I'm trying to help you. You need to help me. If you have comments or questions about this, it will only sharpen my understanding and yours. That's not the end of this sutra, or this teaching of Nichiren's, this Gosho. But I'm at the 20-minute mark, so I'm going to wrap it up, and we'll do a second part. But I want you to really consider and read carefully this Gosho, because it has, in Nichiren's own words, the very central core of what Nichiren is trying to pass on to us, these students of his. Okay? So thank you so much for participating. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. I'll see you next time.